Hello and welcome once again to It's a Frankly Hairy podcast. I'm your host, Frank Weber. I'm so very glad that you could join me once again in the forest this week. Have a pretty good show for you here. There weren't really a lot of topics that I really felt like I had to talk about this week, but I got to have a show, of course, so I'm gonna talk about a couple of things with you. I may or may not get you out early depending on how long this goes, but I always think about like what kind of new segments I might be able to do on this show, and what I could develop and maybe make into something funny and enjoyable and kind of a recurring thing. Lots of different ideas are always bouncing around in my head, but one of them I always thought about was like doing a stupid commercials segment. Now that the NFL season has started and there's plenty of new stupid commercials out there to review, that's one thing. But I also I'm pretty bare bones on this show. I don't have an engineer. I don't have any video. I don't have a lot of other things I can do to play you something and analyze it and everything. But there is one show. There's one commercial that's been really bothering me lately. It's been on for several weeks, and it's for this company called HomeServe, and I think it's primarily on cable or satellite or something like that. Now, HomeServe, of course, is essentially like a home warranty company. So if you pay a subscription monthly, whatever that is, and it covers certain things for you, whether it's appliances breaking down or some other house problem. Apparently plumbing was the issue in this episode. They're supposedly going to fix or repair all that for you after you jump through probably a million hurdles, and maybe they'll actually come out and fix it for you, perhaps. But anyway, I don't know. I'm not a customer of theirs, and I don't know exactly how it works, but that's probably not too far off. But anyway, in this particular commercial, there's a husband and wife in the bathroom, and the husband is taking a shower with the curtain drawn, okay? Don't want to get water everywhere. And the wife is basically brushing her teeth. And while the guy is taking a shower, apparently the water goes out, and apparently something happens with his water line, which could be a pretty serious problem, if something broke or something like that. But anyway, this guy reveals the news to his wife, and in so doing, he pulls the curtain back, but manages, of course, to cover his privates while doing it. Now, there's no third person in the commercial yet, okay? And I realize this is on TV, and they're doing that for TV purposes, censorship and everything. Now, I'm not interested in personally. I know I support naturism and want to do more of naturism and everything. This is not a naturist situation, but I don't want to see the guy naked, of course, and I'm not of that persuasion, so don't draw that conclusion either. But anyway, the guy pulls back the curtain except for, to cover his private area. And I think it's really weird at the beginning because first the conversation is just between the husband and the wife. So I don't understand why he's covering up. It makes no sense to me. And he has kind of this weird look on him. And I don't know, in some ways he's kind of acting like this dumb husband stereotype that TV has been doing for a lot of years. And the woman says something, but I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, this third person shows up, and then the guy, of course, pulls on the curtain a little bit more because obviously that would be weird if some third person just showed up to tell you about this company called HomeServe. And this guy is in a nice, wearing a nice suit and tells them like, oh, you need HomeServe protection, which is probably not going to do these folks any good since they don't have the coverage. right now, which is another problem with the commercial. Obviously, you have to be a subscriber before you can have something break and have the potential of getting it fixed or repaired. But the salesman shows up in his nice suit and tells them all about this, and at the very end, this salesman is seen in his suit taking a bath in this guy's bathtub. And I don't know, it's just the stupidest commercial. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't get it, but I thought that I would begin the show this week because it's fairly lighthearted, and if you want to check it out, you can check it out on YouTube. Home serve is one word with the serve, the S in serve capitalized, and I believe this commercial is called American Dream 2, in case you want to look it up. But I would love for you to take a look at it and analyze it. It's only 30 seconds long, and I would love to hear what you think about it. Tell me what you think about it, because I'm always trying to drum up interaction on this show, because it's a pretty dumb, stupid, kind of shitty commercial, I think. I always wonder sometimes about marketing. I even took a class in that in the spring, and why we respond to certain things and don't respond to others. And of course, I've said many, many things on this show about trying to kind of push humanity to a different level, and why people should care more about many more things and so forth. And while this is kind of a simple and kind of goofy example, it's just a plain microcosm of all the issues in the world. But I think it really bothered me in the first part of the show is that if this is a husband and wife, why is the guy covering up for the wife? Because he can definitely cover up for this salesman in the suit. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there for you first, get things going on kind of a lighter note. And believe it or not, that's really the only commercial that I can think of off the top of my head today that I really wanted to review. I can't even remember a lot of the new ones that are out during football games now. I just know it's kind of the same mix as it has been for a number of years now. I mean, there's thankfully there's still some beer commercials, but a lot of those aren't quite as humorous as they used to be. Even whether it be a few years ago or many years ago. And I always see a lot of cell phone commercials as well during games, and of course a lot of pharmaceutical commercials during football games now, when they used to be relegated to morning TV and Price is Right, or heaven forbid if you watch The View or something like that. But anyway, if you can have some ideas or suggestions and can send me something that you'd like me to review as far as a commercial goes, I would welcome your submissions and see what I can make out of them to analyze them, and try to make it into like a comedy bit, but just analyze them for certain social values and plot holes and things of that nature. I'd really appreciate that. Well, I need to use up some other time in my show here because it's still pretty early, and I was always toying about whether I should talk about this or not, since I talked about the Charlie Kirk assassination last week already, and there's been a little bit of an aftermath since then, and I wasn't sure if I should talk about this or talk about traffic pet peeves. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure if my audience really likes one better than the other, but apparently I haven't recorded in over a week, so we're only like a couple of days from dropping this episode. So I still have some thoughts, and there's still some aftermath. It's very sad what happened to Charlie, and I think he was a voice in the nation's a more conservative movement. and put Christ before everybody else, everything else, put it before his politics as well. That was the most important thing. And it's very sad and shocking what happened to him, and I'm still aggrieved with it, even though I didn't know him. I would have liked to have met him. Last week there was an incident on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and before I get into this, I have to make clear to you I don't want people to take this the wrong way or anything like that. I'm not a big fan of late night TV and what it's become in recent years. I think it'd be very sad thinking about its state where it came from even 30 or 40 years ago with Johnny Carson, and even I grew up also a little bit on David Letterman until he got pretty political in the 2000s. It was, and I a lot of times would watch their shows versus anything on cable or satellite because it was really great. And I'm not a fan of Jimmy's. I'll tell you a little bit more about something in a little bit. I'm not a big fan of his, but I don't know him either. And apparently he made a comment on his show, I think it was last Tuesday night, what was the date of that? Was that the 16th? So he kind of made a kind of a speculative conclusion that the shooter was actually a MAGA person, and it was somehow an inside job, and they're trying to pin it on the left wing in the country and some of the radicals that we know that do actually exist. And he made a comment that was very speculative and done very obviously insensitive, done in poor taste, maybe even a little bit incendiary, but then nobody watches late night TV anymore, so I don't know how incendiary it can be. It's kind of like my show. I mean, sometimes I don't know if anybody listens to my podcast, so I can talk about pretty much whatever I want to and say whatever I want to, and I don't know if it's really going to get a reaction from anybody. But he said this stuff, and ABC and Disney, of course, being the parent corporation, decided to pull his show and suspend his show Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then today is the following Monday, September the 22nd now, is it? First day of fall. And the announcement was made today that Disney is going to bring back his show, which I don't know. I don't know what goes into the decision on that. I don't know if it's a matter of Disney agreeing with him or the fact that maybe they have too much invested in the show right now and just wanted things to die down a little bit. I don't want people to think that I'm defending Jimmy or anything. I'm not. I don't agree with him. I don't think I've ever agreed with him. I don't really know why he has the talking points that he does. I can't explain why certain people say certain things or why they believe the way that they do. But we also have to have a discussion about, and I mentioned this on the show before, we have to have a discussion about what is acceptable in terms of free speech and what isn't. And of course, Charlie Kirk was a big free speech advocate. He did what he did because he has the right to free speech. And I kind of think that Jimmy Kimmel, I know the left has been using free speech perhaps maybe as a crutch in defending him, but in reality, he does have a right to say certain free speech no matter how distasteful or insensitive and maybe even mildly incendiary as it may be. And so I think we have to be very careful with that, and I've talked about this before and I have to bring this up again, but really, you can say whatever damn stupid, crazy bullshit thing you want to say, as long as it's not impinging on other people's rights and their ability to go about their business, and as long as it doesn't cause some kind of riot or uprising or anything like that. And so I think that he actually fits within those categories here. And like I said, I don't want to defend him, but we also have to clearly define again what free speech really is for people on both sides. I don't know why this is such a problem, but you have the right to say what you want to say in some places in designated areas. That's the way it was when I was in college, for instance. You can say what you want to say in designated areas, and you can't force people to listen to you. You can't violate their rights and keep them from going about their day, and you can't cause big riots and uprising, and that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. And so I had to make a quick comment on that. In a way, it feels kind of disappointing that Disney is bringing him back, but we do cherish our free speech here, and we have to allow everybody to have it equally, and we don't have to listen to it. We can always change the channel. We can always do other things, but that's supposedly the number one right that we have as United States citizens, and so it has to be protected at all costs, and it has to be given its equal protection. Now, I know they made the announcement that Disney's bringing back Jimmy Kimmel. Apparently, his good friend Adam Carolla, who I have met, and whose show I love, and whose opinions I love, and whose opinions are quite the opposite most of the time from Jimmy's. Adam has made a show today apparently commenting on Jimmy's suspension. And of course, his show was recorded before today's announcement. So I haven't listened to Adam's show yet. I'm looking forward to listening to that probably when I sign off here. And a lot of people, I don't know exactly all the dynamics of their friendship. I don't know. Like I said, I met Adam once. I don't know him real well, and of course I don't know Jimmy at all. I think a lot of it has to do with just general comedy writing and creativeness in that endeavor. But the backstory that I heard like about a year and a half ago is that so Adam grew up really poor, and he talks about it all the time on his show. And he went through a lot of blue-collar jobs and odd jobs before he got into radio and then eventually podcasting. And the story that I understand from Adam is that K-Rock Radio in L.A., this is probably back in the 90s, was looking for a boxing instructor, which Adam did some of back then. When he showed up at the radio station, he didn't have an appointment or anything. He just showed up at the radio station and, he said, "I understand you're looking for a boxing instructor," and he met with Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy was already working there. And Jimmy gave Adam basically his start in radio, and the rest is history. And that's why Adam is in my view, a very funny comedian, pop culture icon, with views probably about 99% like mine, and he's eternally grateful to Jimmy for that opportunity, is what I believe. That's my opinion. So I know, and a lot of people look at that and they say, why are Adam and Jimmy still friends? Well, that's one of the main reasons, because of that loyalty and long-term friendship. But also because you can disagree with people and you can still be friends, and you can have heated arguments. Maybe you even want to, hopefully you don't want to fight each other physically or anything, but, in the end, you can disagree and still be friends, and it strengthens and grows your relationship and friendship. So That's my 2 cents on that. I could be wrong since I don't know either of them that well, but I'm just putting that out there, and this is all, like always, just food for thought for you. So, anyway, I'm not going to talk too much longer. I know football season's continuing on. The Cowboys don't look good. And it looked I don't know what happened that first game. They played Philly really close, and now they just, barely beat the terrible Giants, and then they get smacked by the Bears, and I don't know what else is going to happen with them this year. I don't have a lot of expectations. I said that a couple of weeks ago. It actually makes things a little bit more relaxing to watch the game if you don't have any expectations. But my college team is doing really well, Texas Tech, and I'm not going to go into my diatribe on the changes in college football, but they look like a really solid team, pretty well coached. I'm concerned about the penalties and everything, but that game in Utah the other day was very amazing. I still have to wonder, though, if they make the playoff, how would they fare against certain SEC and Big Ten teams that they might play? I think that would be a big question to answer. But anyway, I'm a little bit, I'm over 20 minutes, but I'm not too far over it, so I'm going to call it a show here. As always, I appreciate if you share with family, friends, loved ones, anybody you run into in the world. Hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to hear you. Send me comments or direct messaging. I think that would be great as well. So until next week, this is your host, Frank Weber of It's a Frankly Hairy podcast, signing off from the forest. And I can't wait to see you again next week. So love you. Thank you. Bye.